I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to tell you what I don't like. That brother getting death threats, his family getting death threats, that's not right. Caucasian nation, when y'all unalive one of us, y'all tell us to be quiet, sit still, and let justice run its course. That's what y'all tell us. Y'all told us that with Sonia Bland. Y'all told us that with Michael Brown. Y'all told us that with Sonia Massey. Y'all told us that with Amir Locke. Y'all told us that with Ahmad Arbery. Y'all told us that with Philando Castile. Y'all said, sit still, Negro Nation. Sit still, Africans, and let justice run its course.
So now we get in the report that Karmelo Anthony has been indicted and he's been charged with first-degree murder of Austin Metcalf. Now we know that this whole story has went silent for some time now. We know that he's home on home confinement at a disclosed location because Karmelo's family was receiving unalive threats. We also know that the judge was receiving unalive threats. This was an incident that happened April 2nd when Austin Metcalf was stabbed and unalive by Karmelo Anthony at a track meet at the Kendall Stadium down there in Frisco, Texas, right? And everybody's talking about it. They have video of it, but the video is kind of grainy. You can't really see it. And listen, it took some time now. We know that he just turned 18 years old. This thing is going viral right now. Everybody's talking about it. But the grand jury has found sufficient evidence to charge him with first-degree murder. And this is what the news is saying. Check it out.
News that was first reported this afternoon by J.D. Miles online at cbsnewstexas.com. A Collin County grand jury has now indicted Karmelo Anthony.
He is accused of killing another high school student at a track meet. The story has generated national interest, and our J.D. is live at the Collin County Courthouse, where he's been gathering reaction to this decision. J.D.
Karen and Ken, Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis says his office has been presenting evidence for weeks to a grand jury panel here and asked that panel to return an indictment of first-degree murder on Karmelo Anthony, which they did today.
Now, we know this case has struck a deep nerve here in Collin County and beyond, and that's understandable. When something like this happens at a school event, it shakes people to the core. But let's remember that the justice system works best when it moves with steadiness and principle. That's what we're committed to, and that's what this case deserves.
Willis delivered that video statement after the indictment was handed down. A first-degree murder charge carries a 5 to 99 years or life in prison sentence if convicted. Karmelo Anthony is accused of fatally stabbing Austin Metcalf during a track meet inside a stadium where both of their Frisco ISD high school teams were participating. Anthony told police he acted in self-defense and was provoked by Metcalf during an altercation that preceded the stabbing. Anthony's attorney emphasized his plans to use that defense in a video statement released earlier today.
Self-defense is a fundamental right guaranteed every American. The law is clear. When self-defense is raised by the facts, the law puts the burden squarely on the prosecution to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the citizen accused did not act in self-defense.
The father of Austin Metcalf issued a statement to us which says, "I am pleased that we are moving forward with the first-degree murder indictment. It now goes into the court system. I fully believe that justice will be served for Austin Metcalf. I look forward to the forthcoming trial, but it will never bring my son back." I'm told the next step in this legal process will be assigning a judge to the case, and that could happen tomorrow when we expect to get a copy of the indictment. That judge will then decide on when to set an initial appearance for Karmelo Anthony, and that could be days, could be weeks, it could even be months. And as far as a trial date, I'm told that could be well into 2026. Live in McKinney, J.D. Miles.
This case deserves. We're also mindful of Austin's family and everyone who loved him. Please keep them in your thoughts, and if you're willing, your prayers as well. Finally, let's remember that a defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law.
In court. An indictment simply means that a grand jury, after hearing only the prosecution side of the story, determined that there was enough evidence to allow the case to move forward to court. That's all an indictment means. Karmelo and his family are confident in the justice system and the people of Collin County to be fair and impartial. Of course, Karmelo looks forward to his day in court. It's only in a trial that a jury will hear the full story, one that includes critical facts and context that the grand jury simply didn't get to hear. It's only in a trial that both sides get to present evidence and cross-examine each other's witnesses. This is why our justice system is based on the principle of a full and fair trial. That's because it's only in a trial that the full story can be heard and that impartial justice can be done. We expect that when the full story is heard, the prosecution will not be able to rule out the reasonable doubt that Karmelo Anthony may have acted in self-defense. Self-defense is a fundamental right guaranteed every American. The law is clear. When self-defense is raised by the facts, the law puts the burden squarely on the prosecution to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the citizen accused did not act in self-defense. The law does not expect or require the citizen accused to prove that they acted in self-defense. It's actually the opposite. The law requires the prosecution to rule out the reasonable doubt that the citizen accused may have acted in self-defense. We understand that this case has sparked strong reactions. Please remember that there are real human beings, kids, on both sides of this case. We ask that everyone do as the law requires and withhold judgment until all the evidence can be heard in court. We are confident that when all the facts are presented and the full story is heard, the jury will reach the right conclusion and justice will be done.
So we know that Texas laws are different. You know, Texas is a state all to himself. They have different laws, different rules. And we know that the DA now has to prove that he unalived Austin Metcalf with intent, right? First, in Texas, first-degree murder, or more accurately, murder under Texas Penal Code 19.02 is first-degree murder punishable by 5 to 99 years to life in prison and involves the intentional or knowing killing of another person. Capital murder is a separate offense reserved for killings that occur under specific egregious circumstances and carries the potential for death penalty or life imprisonment with no parole, right? So they have to really prove that he did all this, right? But we know that the surveillance camera was very grainy. People were trying to make out what they can see. We know that it was raining that day, and everybody ran up under the tents. And then the issue ensued, right? But this is what they're saying about what happened under that tent. Check it out.
Side. And everything that happens in one very small fraction of the screen in the upper left-hand corner. We couldn't zoom in. It's blurry, pixelated. You cannot identify or see victim Austin Metcalf or suspect Karmelo Anthony.
It is hard to tell how many people are under that memorial tent. It's also hard to tell what they're doing. But we do know that about 9:55, there's a lot of commotion, a lot of activity that happens at the top side of that memorial tent all the way down to the bottom. At this point, it is hard to tell, and it does not show on camera the alleged stabbing.
Now, when it comes to this case, we just saw the case of Allison case, which will be a precedent set in court. We know that the case of Allison case where there was a fight prior to them going into the bathroom where the stabbing occurred. We know that there was a fist fight out in the schoolyard, right? And they basically set it up to go into the bathroom and fight. So he took a weapon on school property into the bathroom and ultimately unalived the young Mexican kid, right? And he's not charged. He wasn't found guilty of first-degree murder. He was found guilty of a charge that can only get him up to 2 years, right? But so, and we know that, like I said, in Texas, it's up to the DA to prove that Karmelo had intent to unalive this person. But we know that there's precedent that's been set, right? And we know in Texas, we know there's a lot of racism going on. We see all the stuff that's going on online. I mean, you even got a lot of black folks that's just, you know, they so traumatized. Just throw them in jail. And mind you, this kid, he doesn't have a prison record. He doesn't come from the hood. He comes from both his parents. You know, he was a good, upstanding kid up until what happened under that tent that day that none of us really know what happened. But again, when it comes to black life, nobody values it. Even a lot of black people, they just want to throw them away. But when it comes to case analysis, Nobody said anything. I haven't seen none of these W folks, none of these black folks, the Brandon Tatums, none of them. I haven't seen none of them make videos about the Case and Allen case. None of them. And guess what? He had a weapon on school property. He poked that boy up in the bathroom on school property, and it was premeditated because he carried that weapon into the bathroom knowing that there was going to be an altercation. But again, you know, black life don't matter, not even a lot of black folks. But as more of this come out, we're going to talk about more of it. But as right now, he's facing 5 to 99 years in jail. He's been charged with first-degree murder, and we're going to see how this thing play out, man. As more of this come out, I'll report more of this. But until now, hit that like button, leave your comments in the comment section, subscribe to Street Media TV. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time, peace.